Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Film Threat Watch Party. I'm your host, Lauren Kling. Thank you very much for joining us on a Friday evening if you're joining us live. But you know, these watch parties are so great because they're evergreen. That's an industry term that means you can watch these at any time. So if you're joining us live, wonderful. In a few minutes, I'm going to bring on the filmmakers and some of the cast. We're going to stream the movie together at the same time. I'll do a countdown. We'll watch the movie. We'll chat. If you're watching with us live, you can post questions for the filmmakers to answer, and we'll have a grand old time. So we'll do that in about 15 minutes. If you are thinking that we're going to stream the movie, you're going to be streaming the movie on your own TV or your own computer. So you can rent the movie on, let's see, Apple TV, Amazon Prime, Vudu, Dish Network, DirecTV, Redbox. I remember Redbox back in the day when you had physical DVDs and Blu-ray discs. So you can stream the movie. Gives you about 15, 14 minutes right now to get that ready. Just have it on pause, and then we'll hit play. We'll start it. We'll watch the movie. We'll have a chat, and it's all good. Let's see what else. So, you know, our movie tonight, I should mention that, is called Dark State. And it's about a reporter who has to choose between helping to expose the truth or accepting that the world is ruled by a global network of ruthless insiders. That's a tongue twister. Totally make believe. We don't have anything in this world that sounds anything like that at all. So I'm looking forward to talking with the director and writer Tracy Lucca about this. It's so very much a part of our conversation these days. But, you know, in film and TV and theater and books, these are the kind of stories that we absolutely love. These mysteries, these whodunits, trying to figure things out. And one of the questions that I want to ask is there a name for the board where in procedurals where they pin up pictures and newspaper clippings and then they take that string? I don't know what the purpose is of the string and the push pins, but I'm hoping Tracy, since she has this as a part of her film, can answer the question of what are those things called? What is the purpose? Or is it just getting to play with string? I don't know. Film Threat's YouTube channel. We have lots of things on there. We have our Chris Gore interviews where he has one-on-one interviews with filmmakers. Next time you're on YouTube, subscribe, like, share the content with your family and friends. Also, our watch parties are on there. We've got Film Threat has trailers, movie reviews, discussions, podcasts. I actually just did a deep dive on The Suicide Squad, the new movie with Alan Ng, the editor-in-chief of Film Threat, and that's going to come out soon. We have a couple of interesting articles, the top 10 musicals. Now, when I looked at the article, they are modern musicals. There is nary an old school musical back from when I was a kid or my parents were a kid. So I want to see an article of the old classic musicals on there. Also, we have 11 movies with realistic casino scenes. So very nichey, but kind of cool. So check out filmthreat.com. And that's it. Oh, also one more thing. We have some watch parties almost every week. What do we have? We have on August 13th, we have Notorious Nick, based on a true story. It's about a man who's born with a partial left arm, who's introduced to mixed martial arts. I'm speaking a little slower because I'm having trouble speaking today. It's just a Friday, I guess. On August 20th, we have a movie called Habit, starring Bella Thorne, Libby Mintz, and Josie Ho. And August 27th, The In-Between, starring Jennifer Stone, Mindy Bledsoe, and Rain Jameson. What do all of these have in common? They're all independent movies made with pure love and not often the kind of big budgets that you find in the big movies. So speaking of that, let's bring on the filmmaker of Dark State. Let's say hello to Tracy. How are you, Tracy?
Hi, how are you? Everything's great.
Good. Thank you very much
for having us.
Thank you. You're welcome. And my apologies. You probably watched so far. I'm having trouble speaking clearly and succinctly. It's a Friday, right?
Exactly.
So, welcome. I'm excited for you to share your behind the scenes about this movie, the town that it was filmed in. So, yeah, let's talk about this small town that kind of became its own character.
Well, I'm from Hamilton, New Jersey, born and raised. It really, from the time I wrote the script, it's where I wanted to film and where I scouted all the locations. And it does. It becomes a very interesting part of the film itself, simply because we there's a big picture. Obviously, the deep state, the dark state, is a big picture, and it's really how it comes to this small town and how it affects it. And so I liked the juxtaposition of that, and I liked the feel of that, how something so large and global could affect people on a small town level. So
Was there anything you discovered about your town while filming that you just kind of never noticed, never saw before, grew an appreciation for?
there's so many things about my town that's great. I love Hamilton, and I love the people there. Yes, I have a greater appreciation for the town, just the way that it took a village to get this film done in 13 days. And
Wow.
so many people pitched in and helped me. My girlfriends were amazing. They were the caterers, all home cooked food that they brought every day, and dessert. I felt that they made this production a hometown, that gave it a hometown feeling. And I felt that everyone that came into Hamilton felt the same way. So
that's wonderful. So why don't we we've got a couple of your cast members who can't stay for the whole time, but that's okay. But I want them to comment on these desserts that your friends were making. I mean, what's better than working on a film where you've got home cooked meals? So let's bring on Nicholas Baroudi and Melissa, who's just going by Melissa, right? Is this your professional?
Melissa Connell.
So welcome, guys. So I guess the most important thing, how was the food?
Well, let me tell you, Lauren, guys might be building up. Let me tell you the thing they tell actors you're not supposed to be eating on film sets. They bring in all the Italian food. They bring in all the Italian desserts. Like, I'm not going to eat that. I'm not going to eat that. I'm going to eat all of that. Yeah. Somebody wake me up when it's my turn to shoot, because they should just let us just have the bare minimum, not all the delicious food that the director's friends bring in that we're not supposed to have. And it's like, oh my God, yeah, I'm eating that. I'm not supposed to eat that.
Right. Exactly. It was delicious. And sometimes it was dependent upon, well, what am I wearing in this scene? How can I dress? Because that will determine if I can have this brownie or this cookie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's interesting is food is a fun topic to talk about with people, but there's something about food on movie sets. There's always the snack truck. There's always food and drink available. Mm-hmm. And Tracy, when you're shooting a film in your hometown and you've got the love of friends who are helping to bring food on set, what are you trying to do with the actors except wanting them to just sit and eat and then, oh yeah, we'll get to the shot in a little bit, but this is good?
I guess when my friends realized that I was going to make a film and we were moving forward and they offered to help, I guess I just looked at it as normal, which is something that we all do, bring food to each other's homes. on the holidays. I looked at this as something that communities do. I don't know. I guess I take it for granted, and I shouldn't. But I took it for granted that the food would be great and that everyone would have a great time, and see that my friends are just great, great people. They really are. And I couldn't have done it without them, and love them so much.
Yeah. Now, I definitely want to talk about the topic of the film, and it's not a lighthearted film at all, but behind every story are people who love the craft of filmmaking, love friends and family. That's what's great about independent filmmaking. Tracy, this is your first SAG-AFTRA film, but you've done films before of similar kind of dark themed topics.
My second SAG-AFTRA film. Yes, my first.
Or second SAG.
Yes, my first was The Finders. Yes, political thrillers. That's what I like. That's what I love. I love, these stories in the news that just tend to pop up and then go away. And, and I'm just like, wait, is that true? And I just want to know more about it. And we've had so many of those in the past 4 or 5 years. So although this was written, believe it or not, before that, I just think it's very timely. So
these are definitely stories that are timely and timeless. Hamilton for the win. Do we know Dino? We're assuming he's a local based on that comment.
Yes, he's a local.
Well, thank you for watching. It's funny being from the West Coast. I have friends from Jersey, but they're from larger towns. So there's this whole world, just like there's a world outside of New York City. There's a world outside of Bayonne, New Jersey, of all these beautiful small towns. For Melissa and Nick, what do you think a small town adds to a film like this versus filming in like Atlanta or in a large city?
I would say the people are so connected and seem to just have a real rapport. And because filmmaking doesn't happen in their town every day, there's an excitement that is different than being in a bigger city that's used to filming, used to camera crews, used to all that buzz. Whereas a smaller town, it's like the talk of the town for as long as the film is happening. And so everybody wants to be involved in some important way. So I think that's what makes it special, the people and the involvement and the excitement of having a film being shot in their town. It doesn't happen every day.
Yeah, definitely. And it definitely adds something. I know, Nick, you can't stay on very long, so we might have you for a couple more minutes. I just want to let everyone know watching, including Dino, have the film ready to go. You can stream it on Apple TV, on Prime and Vudu, and your special favorite VOD channels. We'll start it in a few minutes. We'll give you a couple extra minutes just in case. We'll play through it. We might have some extra guests or panelists come on throughout, and that's how it'll go. Let me see. While we have you, Nick, you're from Manhattan, or are you in Manhattan now?
Yeah, I'm in Manhattan now, working out of Manhattan. I'm from upstate New York, so the Lake George area, Saratoga Springs area.
Got it. So you've had the experience of living in a major city, working in theater on some large projects, working on feature films and TV. What is it about these smaller projects that draws you in as an actor?
This was something that Dark State and one other project I was working at the time was a realization and something that was really cool for me to discover at the time. You kind of, when you're in Manhattan and what I was trying to do is ascend the ladder and kind of get onto a bigger thing and onto a bigger thing. And when you make it your career, sometimes you kind of forget why you got into it in the first place. And that's the passion of it. And then every once in a while, if you take a step back and remember, for me at least, what it was that made me want to get into it was the camaraderie of working with like-minded people, of being on a set, of working on something that everyone is there because they want to be there. They have made the choice to audition and make the effort to work on a project because we want to do it, not because it's work, because we got into this, unless you're absolutely insane, because this is what you want to do. I don't think anyone's going into this career because they think, here's an easy way. This is an easy career. This is going to be an easy way through life. We chose this because that's something that we love to do. And then, so for projects like Darkseid and projects like this, these independent things, it's a reminder that really is because this is what we love to do. And it's at its core what it's supposed to be. It's such a melting pot of people that are really good at their job, coming together and coming prepared and working hard and trying to build something you can all be proud of. And that's the best part of independent for sure. For me, for sure.
Yeah. And you play the editor of the town's newspaper. And, I was like, wait, he doesn't have a mustache. Can you be a newspaper editor and not have that mustache and the old, the suit that's 10 years old? Did you have any background? Did you do any research on what it means to be a newspaper editor?
I did. I tried to, from role to role, I try to have my research and things kind of just as much as I feel it's helping me. It's I don't know, for someone like me, it's easy to go way overboard with the research and do things where then all of a sudden you're thinking way too much and it's way too analytical, and that comes across in the performance. So for me, it was about doing enough research to know what the responsibilities are, and then kind of tying them into what my perception was of Rusty. And the great thing about working with Tracy was she really melded the character once she decided she wanted to go with me for the part to how she saw me in the role. So then the role kind of changed from her as a writer into how she saw me as Rusty. And then I was it made it much easier for me to take the research I did and merge it with her vision of Rusty and mine, and then just doing enough research to make sure you're being responsible and you're playing the character the right way. There's nothing more annoying than watching a movie, use the example of sports, and you're watching a movie about basketball and this guy's supposed to be the greatest college player and he can't shoot, and you're watching the movie and you're going, well, that's kind of taking me out of it because that's not believable. So I wanted to go that far, as that I felt like I knew enough about it to do the part justice, that I could invest that much in it.
Well, wonderful. I'm assuming that this is a great time right before we start the movie. Nick, if you want to head out, I think you are going to be actually trying on clothes, just like maybe for more news editing parts.
Just like all real grown-ups, when they go to work, we have to have you come in and try on these clothes,
It's akin to trying wedding cake before your wedding. You're just doing it before every film.
Yeah, that's right. So, I'm just the groom many, many times over.
So, well, Nick, thank you for being able to jump in here. We're going to start the movie in just a second. So, goodbye, Nick. I'm not going to make you sing anything from A Walk in the Woods or A Few Good Men. Few
Good Men. The musical. One of my favorite roles of all time.
Who did you play in A Few Good Men?
I played Caffey. So I played the Tom Cruise part from the movie.
Oh, boy. Yeah. All right, Tracy, Melissa, how do we get Nick back now just to have a conversation about playing a Tom Cruise role on stage? We'll save that for another time. Thank you very much,
Thank you for having me, Lauren. Tracy, Melissa.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, now that he's gone, we want to know, Tracy, did you ever consider putting a mustache on him for the role?
I didn't.
Good. Well, wonderful. We're going to start the movie in just a second. So for you guys watching, whether it's live or not, we're going to start the movie. I'm going to do a 5-second countdown. I have the movie here on the corner of my screen. So we'll do, I've brought in expensive CGI that I've had imported. So here we go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and play. Sorry, that's all we could afford here at Film Thread, is for me to point into the camera. If anybody, Tracy or Melissa, if you don't know if you started it at the same time, it's all good. We'll figure it out. And if you spoil something coming up, I'm sure the rest of us will catch up in a matter of moments.
Okay.
So, Tracy, talk about this right away. We're in the thick of things. We've got somebody's hands with blood on it. So you weren't afraid to start the movie deep into something.
Okay, let me get there. We're starting. The beginning starts at the end, so we are deep into it. Yes.
Now, Melissa, you've been on stage. You've done commercials, industrials on the East Coast. I looked up, were you really an on-air DJ for WFPG in Atlantic City?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, the fun jobs we've had. All right.
Oh, yeah.
So before we get into this opening scene at this lovely home, what kind of music were you playing? Music? Was it talk radio?
It was not talk radio. It was light rock. So it was a lot of like Rod Stewart and Celine Dion. And I was working there and at another station like 15 minutes from there that played the Unforgettable. So it was Frank Sinatra and Sarah Vaughan. And yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
Wow. That's awesome. All right. Tracy, is this your mom's house?
Yes, it is. It's my parents' house. It's the house I grew up in Hamilton. So
it's gorgeous.
Thank you.
Really something. Mm-hmm.
English Tudor, built in 1939, and it really is. It's beautiful. So.
Wow. Now, do you still have your room, or has it been converted into something else?
I still have it. I just don't live there.
Right. Okay. Do you want to tell us now, have a Film Thread exclusive, whose posters were on your wall? And if you want to defer the question to Melissa, you can do that.
Oh, geez.
I didn't have posters. Believe it or not, I loved Gone with the Wind, and I felt like my room was just all Gone with the Wind. So
nice.
I had that movie poster actually. So
okay.
You
all
were
right.
way classier teenager than I was, Tracy. I had Kirk Cameron and New Kids on the Block all over my bedroom walls. Yeah.
Yes. I had Depeche Mode and all the new wave bands, and then I had one Marilyn Monroe poster because, why not?
Why not? You can never go wrong with Marilyn.
Right?
No.
Right. So if you guys are just joining us, welcome to the Film Threat Watch Party for Dark State. We are here with Tracy Lucca, the filmmaker, the writer and director. We are here with Melissa Connell, right? Melissa Connell?
Yep.
Yeah. Melissa Connell, who's just going by Melissa. Just Melissa. But thank you everyone for joining us. If you're just joining us and you don't know where we are in the movie, we're like 4 minutes, 24 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Now you've done a great job, Tracy, in the story, setting up basically the rest of the film. So talk about who this is in the car and what we want to know at this point in the film without giving away spoilers.
Okay. Yeah, it does. This is everything. So the characters, the people in the car pretty much will define Dark State. So we have Katie in the back, who is the hometown. She's from Hamilton, New Jersey. She is a soon-to-be international movie star. In the back seat with her was, can't remember the name of the actor, but he he plays like a pharmaceutical billionaire, heir to a fortune. And then in the driver's seat, we have a general, a retired Army general of psychological warfare. And then the passenger seat, we have Henry Lee Lucas, who is a serial killer. And when this car crashes in Hamilton, when they were taking Katie home from this party, that's when, to this reporter, Kay O'Rourke, played by Kay O'Rourke, who did a great job, by the way. I really liked working with KO, and she was actually really excited about being here, but she just couldn't do it. When KO, or the character, sees the police report as to who was in the car, she just really decides to, or asks her boss, which is Rusty, which is Nick that just left. She says, "Can I have this story? I want to delve deeper into this." And when she does, that's where we are now.
So you've already set up a carpool from hell, or at least the strangest group of people ever in a car, but it definitely makes you wonder what is going on, and it definitely sets the movie up really well in a really intriguing way. Do you have any favorite filmmakers or authors that kind of gave you this love of these kind of themes?
That's a good question. That is a really good question, actually, because a few days ago I was watching this Joe Rogan podcast with Ed Norton, and he was mentioning that Chinatown and what that movie is about, and how when you really sit after the movie's done, you sit back and you think to yourself, okay, well, could that be true? Is that true about LA being, built on stolen water, and the types of people that would do that, and what they would do to their own daughters, and so on and so forth, and these dark themes. And I feel that I could, and he went on to state that how he tried to do that with Motherless Brooklyn, and get people to think about those themes. And I felt very connected to what he was saying, because I felt that that's what I tried to do. I want people to walk away and say, wait, that was entertaining, but wait, is that true? Was anything in there true? And I think that I love to watch movies like that. Chinatown's one of them, of course. And, but I think that, I think political thrillers, I just watched the Internationalist the other day. I just like political thrillers. I'm trying to think of a filmmaker that does exclusively that, but I can't. So, but films that I love would be, would take something that you wouldn't normally, I guess, pay attention to in everyday life, and yet it has these huge themes and these, effects upon our lives. When I mention people like Epstein, or if I mention people like Weinstein, I feel like that's something that is a huge part of really the show business and politics. And yet those stories kind of come and go. And so I wanted to put them in this film and kind of use them as themes. So.
Yeah, you know what, there were a lot of movies. The 70s seemed to be a golden period for those kind of films. All the President's Men, yes. The Conversation, the Friedkin directed movies, the ones that were gritty and just. I love those kind. I love Michael Crichton, who spins a really great story. But under those stories are these themes that you're talking about that we seem to grapple with over and over again, even though the story's told in different ways.
Yeah, Parallax View was something that with Warren Beatty is another one. You're right. 70s was a great decade for that. I think you're right. And so.
All right, there's Nick. No mustache, but the nice beard and the suit and tie. Now, were these locations, did you have a location scout, Tracy, or were you kind of just working on with people you knew to kind of set up and get some of these locations?
No, this is an office building of a friend of mine, and she also was our line producer, Lynn. So she was kind enough to actually, this particular building or office situation of hers was not rented at the time. So it's two stories. So we had the whole crew on the first floor, and where they stayed for 13 days. And then on the top, we had, it was the Hamilton Herald. So, and we kind of transformed.
Wait, Melissa was not put up in like the Four Seasons Hamilton?
I was pretty local, so I was able to drive home at night.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a question from Lynn. Is this the same Lynn you're referring to? Whose office building, or is this a different Lynn? Oh, it is?
Yes.
Well, thank you, Lynn, for letting the cast and crew take your building. I hope you kept some of the deposit, because filmmakers are messy. But she wants to know, is it true that Jill Biden is from Hamilton? Is that true?
Yes, it is. I got that question before. Jill Biden is from Hamilton, born in Hamilton, and then she wound up moving to Pennsylvania, I believe. But she's from Hamilton, and it's I guess if you Google her, you would be able to see that. So.
Oh, wow.
She must have given an interview and said that. So.
It's always cool when somebody famous or well known comes from your hometown.
Oh, yeah.
I think my hometown, the singer of Journey or some band of that of that type grew up in my hometown. And you're like, I guess that's cool.
Yeah, and I went to Bagliani's, which is Italian market, and Jill Biden was standing outside, and she was getting her photo taken, which I thought was really neat. So.
Melissa, yeah. Any celebrity sightings for you from your hometown or growing up in the area?
From my hometown, we actually have a couple that I went to high school with that really made it big. One of them being Aaron Lazar, who went on to Broadway and a couple of television series. And the other one was Allison Larder. She went on to have a film career in commercials. And yeah, she was on the series Heroes. She was in my brother's grade. Yeah. From Cherry Hill.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So all those posters in the back are real. We have we actually have a red, white, and blueberry festival in town. We're the blueberry capital of the world. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't.
Yes. And we also have a 16th of July festival, and that's an Italian festival, and I think it's over 150 years old in our town. So.
Wow, it's funny. I noticed the posters, and I was like, "Oh, I hope that." I'm assuming that's a real thing, and it sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, and the blanket's real too.
I noticed the blanket too, but I think I'm just a nerd because I host watch parties and I've been involved in the entertainment business here in Hollywood. But I also notice background actors.
Yeah. A lot of people notice background actors, I think. I think, yeah.
is that just an us thing because we're in the movie business, or maybe it's a fascination with the people who aren't tasked with any kind of dialogue or specific lines, but background actors are so important to fill a scene, to bring life to a scene.
I agree. So sometimes you just can't help but to watch the background actors, especially if it's in a restaurant or something.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's true. And in the Philly market, you're bound to see someone that you know, like, oh, so-and-so, or yeah, look at them. They're eating waffles in that scene. Yeah.
Do any friends or family make a non-speaking appearance in the movie?
All my friends and my mother. Yes. My kids did not. My husband did not, but everyone else did.
Was that your choice? Like you auditioned them and you said, maybe next time, or was it their choice?
They were at school. They would have.
Okay.
Yeah. My husband never would have. So
I get it.
my mother couldn't wait. So yeah.
Oh yeah. My mom's the same way. Melissa, I know that you might not be able to stick around, so let us know whenever you've got to go. But hang out until then. This was interesting, this kind of time lapse. I'm watching the time lapse of the okay. This is the thing I asked at the top, Tracy. Okay. Every procedural and movie, and plenty from the 70s, have this cork board with pictures and newspaper clippings and push pins and rope. Can you enlighten me to what this thing is?
It's really just it's like that CSI board, really, just kind of linking everything. Yeah. So, oh, that's my son. It's the oldest Italian. So, thank you. Yes.
Oh, that's Dino, your son, who refused to be in your film without a six-figure salary.
I know. I can't believe it. Yeah. So the CSI board is something that we worked with the crew on, and just something that I wanted to try to have KO. I wanted to try to have her go to Rusty and present her case and say, you know, I am not as, I'm not who you think I am. I might have had a couple bad weeks, but I know what I'm doing. And she kind of stated her case with this whole CSI board, and here she is doing it right now. And she's going through everything and acting out the whole, she is this investigative journalist again, and she just really wants to be put on this story. And I think as the story goes, you get to see, you wonder, does she want to be on this story because her and Katie were best friends in high school and she really cares and can get the best angle? Or does she really want to be on this story because she sees that it's her last chance at some sort of notoriety? So, and so that's what we're trying to figure out with her. With, you know, then you get to see her character develop and as we go.
Yeah, I in doing research for this and looking at other interviews and reviews, people have said it seems like there's also the issue of those in power. You know, if you have to succumb to those in power in order to get your riches or your fame, what happens if you decide not to? Is it possible to even get what you want without having to go through somebody else? And I would assume for her character, she's also working with a male newspaper editor. And later on, there's a scene with an old reporter who kind of tells her to not do research. So there's that kind of topic. At least that's what I got from watching the film.
She does have to make a choice later on. She needs to, yeah, she does. She needs to make this choice. Yeah, what you stated. So I don't want to say too much. But Alicia is an interesting character, and there's a lot of twists and turns. I think Melissa would agree that, I don't know. I never know what someone thinks, because you're not, everyone will read the script and they'll take something different from it. But I think that was one of the most talked about things to me as the writer, that there was a lot of surprises in it and twists that they didn't see coming. So
yeah, I would agree with that with Alicia's character. When I first read the script, I was like, oh, wow, okay. That I wasn't expecting. And I loved that, because it gave her an opportunity to really explore that character and us to really go on that journey with her. Yeah, it was a cool twist.
Yeah. She's an interesting character. She's that. Another thing, and this might be getting too sophisticated for someone who just wants to see a political thriller, but Alicia really is, she's what I have to say about, when we talk about the elite, oh, the elite do this, and they're terrible people, and they're causing all this turmoil in the world. Well, really not. It's really all of us that are doing it. How many people... it's our choices. Our individual choices are making up life on Earth, life on planet Earth. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I think that's another aspect to this, to the script and to the way I wanted to write it. I really didn't want to do this woman that was a victim and made this choice because she felt that she would get somewhere with the elite. I didn't want to do that at all. I wanted to make a character that made her choice for whatever reason she made her choice. And as you go, you get to see what her choices are. But anyway, this is oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead, since we're on this scene.
So this is our hometown kind of bar / wine bar, meeting place. It's right in the middle of town. And the family was great with having us film. This was actually our first day of filming. And I kind of met everybody, and it was it was a great day. So that is Miss New Jersey. And okay, so now he's walking over to the table where my mother is and all my friends. Well, actually, the whole place is my friend. I know everybody there. And thanks to my line producer, Lynn, she filled the whole place for me. And we could have gotten even more people. I mean, it was just so great for people to take time out of their day and go there. So we had a great first day of shooting.
That's wonderful. And I know, are those breadsticks in the background? I was already getting a little bit hungry. I'm like, oh, that looks like a fun place to go to.
Oh yeah, it's fun. Everybody goes to Anata, and we all have a great, everyone has a great time. So
is Dino allowed to go, or is it just a 21 and up only?
Dino is 21, so he gets to go now.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
wow. Okay. So we want Dino to comment on his impressions now that he's old enough to go.
They have great pomegranates.
How long did it take to shoot?
Wow.
Hi, Sean. It took 13 days in Hamilton, New Jersey. And we only really had to switch one day due to weather. So other than that, it was a really smooth shoot. We had a great time.
Now, was this 13 days straight, or were you able to break it up with a day off or a couple days off?
No, it was 13 days straight, and we had one day off. We had to do the one day off because of just really bad weather, like monsoon weather. And we had where Greg Wood, who's Katie's father, and Alicia meet on the dock on the lake, and it was just we couldn't do it, so we had to change that. Other than that,
wow. So what do you do when you have weather like that in Hamilton? Do you stay in? Are there some nice places to go spend the day to have a coffee or martini?
Yeah. Well, you can have a coffee at Casciano's and then walk next door to Anata and have a martini. Right, Melissa?
Yeah.
I think you were. Yeah. Yeah.
Both delicious plates.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't planning on setting you both up for sharing your day off and the the restaurant hopping, but it sounds like that's what you do when you have an unexpected day off.
Yeah. And lots of SAG paperwork.
I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question. So, Melissa, did you have to supply your own clothing? Did production supply those? Did you get to keep everything? How did that work?
They supplied everything. They had gorgeous costumes. I got really, really lucky. I loved everything that I wore. And that's not always the case. I mean, of course, you just wear whatever you're told to wear and you act happy about it. But I didn't have to pretend to be happy because I actually legitimately liked everything I got to wear, including the shoes and the purses and the hair accessories and all of it. Yeah. So no complaints there. Yeah.
Melissa was a fabulous Lilith.
Oh.
You wore the costumes well, and you have an amazing voice. You did some voiceover work in my first film, The Finders, and I never forgot that. I remembered you from that because your voice is really amazing. It's just something I don't know. You probably do voiceover work as well because it's just a great voice, very soothing, very, very nice to listen to. So I remembered that, and when we went through casting, I just thought you were perfect for Lilith.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know that my children would agree with that, but they're like, soothing? What? No.
Exactly.
But thank you.
But Alyssa, didn't you also produce a radio documentary at one point, like an award-winning?
Oh my goodness, you're like going deep into the files there. Yes, like,
I am. It's dark state, dark interviews. Well, no, not dark interviews, deep interviews.
Yeah,
that's another show. No, that was a long time ago. I was in graduate school at the time, so that was like 100 years ago. But yeah, I produced a radio documentary called "Tobacco: Filtering Out the Truth," where we basically interviewed tons of smokers and talked about the struggle of addiction and different cessation programs and what really worked for people, what didn't. It was really eye-opening. We talked about the health aspects, the social aspects. I enjoyed that project. Yeah.
Wow. Did that inform your character in this movie, or have you used something you did back in school in another project?
So it's interesting. For many, many years, I played the girl next door, the nice girl, the girlfriend, and then for some reason, and I love this, once I got into like my mid 30s and certainly into my 40s, all of a sudden that changed. And these deeper, darker projects became more available to me, both for theater and film. And I feel like everybody has a dark side. We just learn how to control it, and we learn not to reveal that. And so I had so much fun just doing the backstory for Lilith based on different people I've met through the years, different characters in the past, and just sort of figuring out who she is. There's a reason why people are the way they are. So what happened to her in her life to get her to this point? Why is she so evil? Like, people aren't just evil for the sake of being evil. There's a reason why, like the root cause. So that was fun to explore because we all have a dark side. We just don't always admit it. So
but somebody like Tracy who writes about it and researches it kind of helps bring those stories out. And Tracy, you talked about the idea of the elite. And I think all of us, it's easy for us to pigeonhole a group of people as others, but we're all part of this world. We all have these dark things. We have these things we love, but we don't always get the chance to share those things about ourselves that make us unique, the favorite foods or those kind of simple discussions that just make us relate to each other.
Yeah, Melissa says it. Lilith says it to Alicia in the film, in a great scene where she says to her, "It's your individual choices that creates the havoc, really, that's on this planet. Not a few people at the top." And I love that, because I think too many people stare at the TV every day and say, "Oh, that's the reason everybody's so bad. That's the reason." But I don't know, very few people point the finger back at themselves and say, "Well, what could I do to just, I don't know, make things a little bit better?" Because the world is a dark place right now. Hopefully it'll get better.
Yeah. And you know what? It's interesting because everybody on this planet has been going through the same kind of thing. And it's interesting to find beauty within it, to find discovery within it. I know a lot of people who have left big cities to go to small cities, go back home, or some people who have decided, like me, to pivot into something else, that feeling of almost freedom, like to be able to take a breath and say, here's what's important to me.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think a lot of people had a chance to self-reflect in a way that they never really had a chance to before, because maybe they just had more time on their hands. They were home more. They weren't going out as much. So I know that was certainly the case for me. I was home with my kids all the time. And so we had to sort of get into a new normal, and we discovered new things to do together. And, although it had its challenges, I think it also was a really great growing experience for all of us. And I see that happening with a lot of friends and family too, whether it's a new career or realizing a relationship wasn't working so well and going in a different direction, and just having a chance to take that breath, like, okay, so how can I turn this kind of awful situation into something more positive? Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think there were a lot of positives over the past year and a half, as well as negatives, but there were a lot of positives. And I think self-reflection was one of them, where you finally got time because there really wasn't any busy things around you anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think we've realized as a culture how much we need human contact, how much we love to hug our friends and family. And like, it was a weird thing not to be able to see my parents all the time, or for my kids not to give their grandparents a hug. Like, that was so weird for us. Like, it was this whole new dynamic. And I know everybody was experiencing that in different ways throughout the world. Like, it just was this bizarre thing. And we realized, virtual's great, but there's this like real deep connection to see people face to face and hold their hands or give them a hug or whatever. Yeah.
Yes. So maybe that's why people decided to move in mass, it seemed like, right?
Yeah.
A lot of moving, a lot of switching around and I think it has to do with community.
Yeah.
People maybe felt isolated where they were, and they were looking for their people, their village, their community. So that's one great thing that came out of it.
JD wants to know, what's radio?
Yeah, right.
It's like podcasts that you can't play back at any one time. It's just there.
Good way to explain it. Yeah. We used to have to field a real too back in the day. We thread.
I know.
Yeah.
Imagine, JD, that Melissa decides as a DJ what music to play. Although, Melissa, I would assume that you might have had a music director or worked for a station that said, this is what you're going to play. You have to play Mambo number 5 300 times an hour.
Yes, basically. It was just on the computer. We had no control over the music. We would basically just stop it to give the weather or you know, talk about what we just heard and what was coming up. That was pretty much it. And then you just hit play again and that was it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited because vinyl's come back.
Yay.
And some people are starting to collect cassettes. So I'm thinking mixtapes. I'm thinking Dino needs to make a mixtape for Mom with some cool tunes on it. Maybe throw in, get Melissa to do some weather.
They have to come back. They have to come back.
Too funny.
Okay, so that's
talk
Jared,
about,
and that's Jared. He plays the reporter, the investigative reporter in Philadelphia, and he actually had a small part in the Mayor of Easttown.
That's so funny. I was just about to say that. I literally just saw that episode this afternoon, and I'm like, there's Jared.
Yes, he's a great actor.
Yes, for sure.
And we had to switch things around this day too, because it drizzled. It was a pretty steady drizzle, and so we were set to do all this in the playground, but we just switched it to the gazebo, which wasn't a big switch at all. But you know, so that was something that the actors, I guess, didn't expect, but they were great.
Sean's asking.
Katie Morrow had such an interesting character arc. Okay.
So I'm wondering, did you have inspiration for all characters, or did you have inspiration for some characters and others were just kind of filling in the gaps?
I think first and foremost with this film, I had something to say. And so I needed to figure out how I was going to say it, how I was going to take these big pieces and put them all together. So as far as Katie is concerned, I think she embodies your everyday person from a small town, made good, that everybody wants to be, or who you think has the best, the most amazing life. And you start to see things unravel, and you start to see the reality of her existence. That life at the top isn't quite what you think. But Jared, right?
This scene is definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to say the scene with Jared is kind of the moment where there's somebody, you know, the antagonist, somebody standing in her way, kind of telling her she's not good enough. Just leave it alone.
Yes, he doesn't want this story to go any further than Hamilton. He does not. He doesn't want it out there. He doesn't want it going viral online. And there you'll see him at the party. Right there. There's Jared. So he's at the Dark State party that Katie and those men were attending, you know, the night of her accident. He was there. So that's one of the reasons he doesn't want this story out.
All right. Can you talk about this scene with this hippie guy? Where'd you find him? Is he an actual hippie? And also, it's an interesting scene, and I'm wondering what you were thinking, or when you wrote this dialogue, this part right here.
It's an interesting theory. When I was doing my research, and you start to really go down the rabbit hole or go on these deep dives, you start to read about things like Tavistock and think tanks. And what you realize about these think tanks is that they really do, whether through advertising or whether through music, entertainment, politics, influencers, I guess today you could call them, whatever it is, they shape our opinions, our collective opinions. And whether or not you believe that, this is someone who expresses those views. And I don't know if he was a hippie or not, but he played one very well.
Well, did you have to buy him the shirt, or was it something he already had? That would probably.
No, I think we supplied the shirt, actually. Yeah.
Okay. See, if you have an actor coming in who's got, an authentic hippie shirt that says Deadhead on it, I think you've found somebody who's Oh, Constantine, talk about where you found this guy. I think he's really got a future for himself somehow in music. Talk about how you brought Constantine on board and his really creepy character. He does a great job.
He does a great job. So I was looking for someone. I was looking for a name for this role. It was a small role, but I was really serious about getting someone to come to Hamilton that was. Oh, look at you, Melissa! You look great. That's a great shot.
Oh,
by the baby Gran.
Thanks.
Yeah. So anyway, so I worked with Eagle Theater, which we have a theater in our hometown of Hamilton, New Jersey. I worked with one of the directors of the theater, Ed Corsi. And he also helped me cast my first film, The Finders. And I just loved all of my actors in The Finders because they were theater actors as well. So they came to set every day with their lines memorized and no issues. And so I wanted to do the same for Dark State, and I knew that I wanted local actors. But for this role, I was willing to look further. And Ed Corsi said he had a relationship with Constantine's management, and said, "Let me reach out. I think that it would be a great match." And I just wanted that from the beginning. I had, as soon as he said that, I just felt that would be perfect for Adorno. So it was just something when he said yes to, we were just so thrilled to have him. And from the first day when I looked through the camera and saw his eye, he did such a great job, and he really comes alive on camera. You'd be surprised. Certain actors have that it factor. And it really does exist. You can look through the camera and just see someone completely different than who you're looking at in real life. I'm sure you've noticed that, Melissa, where it's just some people just come alive on camera. And I think Constantine is one. He has it. He really does.
Agreed. Yeah. And he was super easy to work with too. Yeah.
Oh, so much fun to work with.
Yep.
So much fun.
Relaxed, fun. Yep. Ready to work. Yep. Yes,
ready to work, easy. He fit right in. He just fit right in.
Yep.
And this is Joe Boy, named after my cousin who owns that action auto body in town. So this is Anthony Carone, who actually is another well-known actor who's worked with Joaquin Phoenix, and he was great. I had someone else, an unknown for this part. He was already cast, ready to go. And 2 days before, he dropped out. And then my set designer, Jay Weber, said, "I'm going to call Anthony. He's in the area, and I'm going to send him the script, see if he's interested. Would you be interested?" And as soon as we talked, I knew that would be great. So And he did a great
It's
job
always,
with Joe Boy. He met the real
Yeah.
Joe Boy, and they hit it off, and it was just, we had a great day.
see, he looked like, I assumed that was a local who actually worked there at the shop. He just kind of has that look.
Yeah. He did a great, well, I think
All right.
he hung out with Joe Boy enough where he just kind of rubbed off on him. Yeah, it was a great day.
All right. So somebody else who's got a great look, let's bring on our surprise guest, Mark.
Hey,
How are you, Mark?
how are you guys?
How are you?
I just got off a set in Jersey, and I'm in my car right now. I had to find a McDonald's with Wi-Fi. I remember very distinctly that day when Anthony came on, and we sat around and talked to Joe Boy about stories of just what it's like to be a tow truck driver and deal with these car crashes. And he had so many great stories. I mean, it was like that. It could be its own documentary.
Yeah.
Joe Boy was really, he was such a great piece of Hamilton royalty. You know, he really represented the town well.
Oh yeah. He definitely is Hamilton royalty.
Mark and Tracy, how did you two connect for this project?
Very cool. A mutual friend of ours introduced us, knowing you guys were looking for some producers, and we were lucky enough to have a meeting with Michelle and Tracy and I, and we all hit it off, and it was really wonderful.
We did. We hit it off right away. I felt that Michelle and I just couldn't stop talking, and Mark, you were. I mean, just all of us. We hit it off immediately. So I was very lucky to find them.
Now, who broaches the subject of budget? How do you find the budget for independent films? Yeah, let's start with those questions. Those are for independent filmmakers who are watching, or people who want to make something more than just a project at home. Where do you start to think about budgets and finding the money?
I mean, that's a really tough, that's probably one of the hardest parts of making a film and getting to make the film you want to make is, because, I mean, first and foremost, you go after a wonderful crew. You want to have a great crew so you can Tracy wrote this beautiful script, and she was such a great director. And as Michelle and I, as producers, all we want to do is make sure her vision is being shown best possible. And she was very clear, and she knew what she liked. So budgeting, that's getting people to put in is very hard. And Tracy, you could take that, because we came in after you already secured the funding.
Yes. I knew a little bit about what I wanted to spend just by doing my first film, The Finders, and learning a lot and working with SAG and working with a crew, location, so on and so forth. So I knew what I wanted to spend, and you just have to go for it. If there are any filmmakers watching this, I just say, just go for it. There's so many filmmakers that have so much talent, and they're trying to perfect their script, and they should, but then they're just waiting for someone to help them make it. I think my advice would be just do it. Whatever you think you need to spend, just cut that in half and try to make it for less. And I made this film on time and on budget. So, and it wound up in the movie theaters.
Yeah.
Wow.
you got theater release on an independent budget, which is a very, very awesome thing, which I think speaks volumes for Tracy's writing and directing and the talent of the actors.
Yes.
The actors that came in, most of them we were meeting on set for the first time, and I was blown away by their work.
Mm-hmm. I have to agree. Now, I just noticed that Greg Wood is on screen. He was in M. Night Shyamalan's Sixth Sense, and he is a really well-known actor in the Philadelphia area, theater actor, film actor as well. But as a local actor, he's so well-known, so well-respected, and I loved working with him. The whole cast loved working with him, so.
Yeah.
So
I have a weird lag. I'm sorry, guys. McDonald's Wi-Fi isn't what it used to be.
If you're watching us from around the world, Mark is outside a McDonald's in a parking lot. Don't mind the guy with the cool mustache talking to his phone.
yeah.
It's funny because working on other after we finished and wrapped and working on other projects, I was really looking forward to coming on here and seeing everybody because we had such a wonderful experience on set. And it's one of the rarities. There was no drama. We were on time. There was no problems. I felt like it was one of the few times I've ever worked on a set that it went smooth.
Yeah, it really did.
And
I remember you and Michelle commenting on that, like no drama. There was drama, and I'm so happy that was the case. But I think you and Michelle, you just came to work every day with a smile on your face and ready to go. So,
yeah, you gave us good work. We were excited. It wasn't just punching in a time clock. We were going and creating a story that you wrote. That was a really awesome story, and we had a lot of fun doing it.
Oh, thank you.
All right. I think Melissa needs to go in a second, but wanted to say thank you so much for spending some of your Friday with us. Why we haven't seen your kids running crazy behind you.
They're in the basement now.
For people on the West Coast where we don't have basements, that sounds super creepy. But for people in the Midwest and the East who have basements, it's probably just, oh, okay, that's cool. It's fun having conversations with people about basements, what they are, and then when East Coasters get together and talk about what's in their basements, somebody like me from LA is like fascinated.
Melissa has children. Some people put their old stuff down there.
Right, exactly.
I have a high school yearbook. She has half of her class.
Right.
So, Melissa, before you go, are there any projects you've got coming out? You know, theater's kind of making its way back. So have you been able to do anything in person? Do you have any TV or film projects coming up?
I do, finally. Thank God. Yeah. So I have a theater contract starting up, I think, in October for a repertory company I'm with. So I'm super excited to get back with that. And then I start work on a film actually next week in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. So I'm looking forward to that. I think I'm on set about 4 days. So should be fun.
Wonderful. You're going to be dreaming of the food you got on this set, aren't you?
It's going to be hard to compare. It really is. We were very spoiled. Yes.
Well, thank you again, Melissa, for sharing your time and sharing some stories, and all the best to you.
Thank you so much. Bye, Tracy. Bye, Mark. Bye.
All the best.
It's good seeing you.
Bye.
Bye. All right, now it's down to the three of us.
The set I'm on is also a very heavy Italian set. A lot of Italians on it, and that's I think going to have to be in a rider that I only want to work with Italians because there's no shortage of food. Tracy had the greatest catering. It was, I mean, we ate. I didn't want to leave set.
We talked about that. That was the first thing we talked about, the food.
Thank God I'm a character actor and I'm allowed to eat as much as I want. Poor Nick, he has to worry about his weight.
He mentioned that, Mark, and yeah, you're a comedian, so I'm wondering if you've been able to go out onto the road or do anything in person, or if you did anything even virtually.
So over the pandemic, I did a lot virtual. It was a lot of doing this, right on the StreamYard, doing the Brady Bunch style comedy. It's Hollywood Squares or whatever. But in June, everything started opening up, and thank God, it was much needed. I was on the road for about 2.5 months straight. As soon as it opened up, I was out, and it got cut short. I actually am supposed to be in Martha's Vineyard, but I got cast in this TV pilot, so I cut short and came home, and we're shooting out of New Jersey. So again, another New Jersey project, which I'm doing because I get to see my family. And but yeah, it's that whatever it was, 18 months, that was rough on the comedy world. It was so amazing. That luckily we had this project that we're watching now to help save us feel like artists, because it was so hard to do anything to feel like you were being an artist. And knowing that this film was out there and that it was in process of being made, getting released, there was so much positive happening. So this is a really godsend, this whole project. It was a very beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the right time in that sense. I mean, the message is timely, but also just all of us working together, me working with Michelle, trying to get this project where it got to, a theatrical release in March. That was I want to say a miracle. It really was a miracle.
It was really cool. It was so awesome.
Yeah, I didn't even think the theaters would be open, but we somehow got in, and we sold out a couple shows in New York. It was amazing.
That's wonderful. So fill me in again on the production schedule. I think you shot this in 2019, and then where were you when things started shutting down? Did you have a film premiere, or was that when you were originally going to release in theaters?
Mark, do you want to answer that? Okay.
It was we had a little bit of a delay on the release, and it was like just amping up to get out to people when the pandemic hit. So we really got a little bit of sideswiped, and not knowing what to do. And I feel like everybody had the same feeling, that it was like the Wild West. Nobody knew what was happening, and there was like all these rules, but kind of no rules, and there wasn't a direct formula to follow, and it made it very hard. And then when it did get picked up and it was going to get a release, it was like Tracy said, it felt like a miracle. Like, oh my God, this piece of art is now going to be able to be out there. There was a little bit of the negative voices in my head going, oh no, this is the worst timing possible. But it ended up being something really beautiful, that we got it out to theaters. And when was when we were at the first release, the screening of it, the private screening?
Well, we finished. We were still in the late editing process when COVID hit. So we finished. We wrapped right before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And then you know how it goes with the holidays, right? So we started really seriously getting into the editing in January, February, and then mid-March it hit. We weren't completely done the editing process when COVID hit. And then I think that we had that private showing. It was a private showing in October.
It was October, yeah.
And it had to be really small, obviously. And it was just, we didn't get to do what we wanted to do, right? But we did something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's kind of the best stories, right? Like if it went as planned, it wouldn't be as fun of a story.
That's true. We just got a ton of Bruni's pizzas. We couldn't even order from we didn't even want it catered. We didn't even want to be bothered with that. We just got a ton of Bruni's pizzas, and my husband brought all this red and white wine, and everybody was fine. We just we just wore our masks and we watched.
Wore our masks, got a little pizza and wine. Life's good. As good as it can be, right?
Yeah.
That's the feeling I always want to bring to these watch parties, is imagine that somebody's brought some good pizza, not the cheap stuff, but the good stuff, and some bottles of wine. Preferably out.
You go ahead, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to ask you how I have a delay, so you go. You go.
See, now you put me on the spot, Mark. I have nothing to say. Okay, now your turn.
Okay. How was this for you guys? I mean, the watch parties, that really became a thing really because of not being able to have the releases, right? I mean, this is like a new invention.
I came on in October, and so I don't know its full history. It's perfect for online, but of course I love being able to attend, and I'm sure you guys have done this, industry events where you have the panel live, you're schmoozing. They've when the film companies provide nice drinks and food, catered meal, and it's a chance to hang out with people in your industry. So this is fun. It's, certainly miss being with people and the excitement of being live and having an audience, but maybe that'll happen.
Yeah. It's some of the best parts of this business is getting to be with your fellow artists.
I agree.
And if we need comedians and musicians to open the show, I think, Mark, you can do a nice 20-minute set. We can have Constantine do a little intro. It'll be great.
I'm available. Now, when you do these watch parties, have you noticed more of a camaraderie, because people are really, pulling for each other, and they're, times are tough with getting work out there. So have you noticed that it's been getting a little more communal, or has it been tougher?
Well, I noticed, in a lot of cases, and I'm assuming with you guys as well, this is kind of often a reunion for the cast and filmmakers who maybe haven't seen each other or even spoken with each other since Wrap. Is this kind of how it went for you guys?
No, I've been doing active publicity for a while. So, I do speak to Michelle quite often. I mean, I wouldn't say every day, but close. So I'm in contact with the cast and crew.
Yeah. So, but for those who did projects, boy, some of these projects we've done watch parties go back 2, 3, 4 years. And so it's a nice reunion, and especially in the height of when lockdown feels the most intense, it's a nice way for people to gather, try to make it relaxed and communal, like you said. Kind of like going to somebody's house, hanging out, and hey, the movie's playing in the background.
I want to just comment on this because this log cabin is a truly authentic, log cabin, 100-year-old cabin that sits on the Lucca River. And it was on our producer's daughter's lot. And as soon as she showed me this location, it was just something that I fell in love with. So this actually was not in Hamilton. It was right outside of Hamilton, like maybe, I don't know, maybe about 8 miles or so outside of Hamilton. Wasn't a long ride, but and then the person, Kim Carson, who actually was the star of my other film, The Finders. She plays Violet, who is a child star, and who kind of her and Katie were very close, and why she decides to go to the Hamilton Herald and tell her story of why she thinks those men were in the car with Katie. So this is where kind of everything comes out, this scene. And I just felt that being on the Lucca and being in that log cabin, I just thought it was perfect. It was so desolate, like nothing is there. And there's a lot of history about that area. It's just very, very deep in the Pinelands.
Do you remember when we were filming, we were trying to get the drone up, and there was like an air show or something happening, and all these military jets were flying over. It was, I don't remember if it was there was an air show or something, maybe in Atlantic City, and they were flying over.
I remember there was an air show that was a scene with Greg on the lake, and it couldn't get quiet. Remember, like I just felt we couldn't get a break with the airplanes flying by. This, I remember Steven saying, if I'm correct, that the drone wouldn't go up because of it interfered with the military air base in that area, outside that area.
Yeah,
I don't remember the name of that base. It'll come to me.
It was McGuire, maybe? No, that's further away. But every time we went to shoot, all of a sudden we're like, is that a Harrier flying over? Is that an Osprey? Like, what is going on? Are we under attack?
Yeah.
The movie started to get a little too real.
Yeah.
There were like some serious like fighter jets flying over, and it took forever to get our shots in.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that where you have a PA? You send them over to the military base and tell them to quiet down?
Yeah. Right down. We're filming Dark State.
Yes.
We went through 14 PAs that day. They just went missing. I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh, okay, now wait a minute. Now things just got real, Mark.
Kim did such a great job too.
She's an amazing actress, and she's another Philadelphia theater actress that's worked in every theater from the Arden to the Wilma to the Walnut. She has she just really is well known in the Philadelphia area as being an amazing actress. So. She has such a different look than in The Finders because her hair is so short. Yeah.
I was fascinated with how Tracy came up with her two scripts. I mean, you're just such a great writer. I cannot get over how intense everything that you write is. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. I think that I have to credit the actors for bringing it to life. Sometimes it's too much in your head. You know this. You're a writer too. I'm sure you write your own stuff, and you don't really know until you see these actors perform it, and then it comes to life in a way that I guess you can never really expect that when you're writing it. And the actors were great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tracy, I know that you're a big proponent of live theater, and you've been a part of that in your community, and you even helped to restore the Eagle Theater.
I did. Yeah. I helped with that project for many years. Helped raise money.
What was its condition when you jumped on board to do this?
It was really just, you wouldn't even recognize it. It was just a little, if you can see a picture of the Eagle Theater, you can go online and see. You can see how small it is. And without the marquee and everything, it really was just a boarded up building that was rented by a local bank, used to put files there for years and years. And someone was actually going to buy it and knock it down for parking. And it just came to my attention. Someone mentioned it to me, you know, that was the old Eagle Theater. And since the mayor had put me on a committee that did such things as, you know, arts and culture and try to preserve things in and about town. And I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that that was the old Eagle Theater because it had closed in the 1930s. And we just went about raising money and tried to get it off the ground. And we did that. And it had really great shows before COVID. And then I'm sure it's going to go back to the way it was. And, but yeah, we saved it. And I think it's such an important part of our small town. And I love the fact that actors are always around town and they're always in the coffee shops and we have such interesting people, and it's all because of that little theater.
That's wonderful. Is it a 99 seat or larger?
207 seats.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I ran for council because of that theater, because I really wanted to make that my platform, and I wanted to bring attention to it. So I got into politics because of that, which I don't recommend politics.
Wow. See, that's
why.
I loved it because it was Hamilton, and I like being in a small town. I like small town politics, don't get me wrong, but it's just, it wasn't me, you know. I guess I'm more creative. So, but I can't complain because I ran with a third political party, Hamilton First, and we had a great platform and we had a great mayor, and and we still have that third political party in town. I often wonder if we're like the only town in the United States of America that has this ongoing third political party. If we are, we won't be the only one for too long. I feel like a lot of people might have that idea soon.
Yeah, interesting. The closest I've gotten to politics is homeowners association vice president and secretary, but I can totally feel the idea of what politics in town is, what I experienced just on a larger scale with some more money.
Yeah, it's okay.
If you're left wing or right wing, I'm probably more chicken wing.
Yeah.
These aerial shots are great. And again, your DP, if you want to talk about him, did a great job of capturing the different parts of your town and how it feels like such a part of the story.
Thank you. And you know, Steven's great. I wish he was here. He would have so much to say about Hamilton. There was a time we were talking, and him and the editor, Justin, said to me, we just want to ride around town and get some shots because there's just something about this town. Everyone's so proud to live here. We just want to get more shots of the town. And they did. I think they felt the energy too, of everybody just being excited that we were shooting. And it was a great experience. I hope for everyone.
I really feel that the town was one of the characters. It really was. Like The Wire was with Baltimore. I feel like this was with Hamilton. That it was a very essential part. It was one of the main characters of the movie.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's also, I mean, what's not to love about all those beautiful aerial shots and just the downtown so quaint, and it's very cinematic. It's almost like a snow globe came to life.
Yeah. Oh. This was kind of a difficult day. Just trying to get all this right. Trying to get all it's really choreography when you think about it. Stunts, like, it's stunts, but it's just trying to get it right where it felt right. And I just remember being this was one of the longest days. Wouldn't you say, Mark?
Because I'm on my phone, I can't see which scene we're on.
We're way in the backyard of my mother's house, and we're kind of dragging Alicia to the
house,
the mansion. Yeah.
That was I think the longest shoot day, because it was literally setting everything up took forever, because like you were saying, it's choreography. It was like putting together a dance, and we had to go over the dance over and over till we were ready to get the cameras rolling.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't think about it because they're like, oh, it's a scene where a kid jumps in front of a car, and it's like, you got to take a lot of precautions on that.
Sure you do. Yeah.
Those kids aren't like PAs. We can't go through 13 kids in a day.
Wait, it was 14. What happened to the last one, Mark?
I think he's in Melissa's basement.
Great.
It's like Spinal Tap in The Drummers.
Yeah.
One PA just spontaneously combusted.
Oh, geez. I feel like there's a comedy coming on called 14 PAs. And over the course, what happens to all of these 14 PAs? Tracy, I'm curious because I definitely want to ask you about your novel July, but I'm curious because these kind of conversations that you've written about in the Finders and Dark State are darker. Have you written anything lighter? Have you gone comedy, even just short pieces? Or is this really your genre that you're the most comfortable in?
I don't think I have a genre. I think I'm still developing as a writer and as a filmmaker. Who knows if I'm writing another script right now, and it is. I would say I can't really say it's strictly a political thriller though. But no, I wouldn't say I have a genre. I don't want to be pigeonholed like that because I just never know. And I did write a novel, July, in 2005, and that's more of, I would say, like a love story. So no, but I haven't gone comedy yet, but I might. Never know.
Now, I'm wondering, was July originally a script idea, or did you always know that it was going to be a novel? And talk about how you feel about writing a script versus writing a novel.
When I wrote July, it never entered my mind that it would be a script. It's not a script. It's definitely a novel. But then when I wrote The Finders, I thought that I would possibly make that a novel as well. And it just did not. It just evolved into a script and something that I felt that I needed to get out there. And my voice, I just think that I never considered myself someone that was growing up and thought, oh, I'm going to be a filmmaker. That's not it. This is the best medium to get my message across. And so I focus my energy on trying to learn the craft. And filmmaking is a collaborative effort. It's not like writing a novel. There's a lot of different visions involved. Once you get on set, you realize, you have a set designer, and you have to work with everyone to make sure your vision is clear. So it's not the easiest job in the world, but it's definitely the best medium to get my message and my voice across right now. And I love it. I really do love it. Both films that I did had a great time.
I would be so interested for Tracy to write a comedy because her well runs so deep. When she writes stuff, it's a very, it's definitely something that comes from her gut and her heart. And I would love to hear her comedic voice.
It would be more like the Truman Show or something if I did.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That also goes with Tracy as a person and as a friend. Everything she does is it's heartfelt and it's deep and there's a lot to it, and she means what she says. There's not a surface, a light surface thing that's just how's the weather. She wants to talk social issue. She wants to talk something that's a little more profound. And I think that's what makes her writing and her as a person, as a friend, super interesting.
Oh, thank you, Mark. I feel the same. I feel that I feel like when you were on set that we connected in so many different ways, just because you had a reverence for the story and the message and everything. And right from the start, I just felt that your ideas, the way you talk to the actors, the way you and Michelle connected and got along, and just the way that you and Michelle connected with Lynn and I, and I don't know. I feel that you're just going to probably go very far as a producer as well, because you do a great job of making everyone feel connected on set.
I mean, you made it so easy. Michelle and I we're best friends. We're business partners. We're work partners. She's my work wife. And when we came on and met Tracy, there was immediate, this woman has a great brain. She has a great heart, and she has an awesome story she wants to tell. And it was literally, we would do whatever it took to try to get her story out there. And it was awesome because it wasn't punching a time card. It was going, oh my God, I can't wait to tell this story with her.
Yeah.
And it's a cool feeling to be able to go to work and be excited every day.
Yes, it is. It's a blessing, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be able to go to work and love and can't wait to get there because you love, and you were only there 7 hours earlier. To start all over again. It didn't matter, and we loved it. So I just want to
talk about this little small place here on the beach, this little shack.
Yeah. So our line producer had this house, and she let us use it. It has it's an amazing house inside and out. It is in Longport, New Jersey, on the beach, and it's just beautiful. Has a lot of
it's as beautiful in person as it is on film.
It really is. And it's just gotten redone by a really great designer. The kitchen was redone, the furniture, so it just had all the markings of something that the rich, powerful elite would live in and loan to Alicia for the day, for the weekend.
I aspire one day to be in the dark state.
You look like you're there.
I know, right? I keep looking around this parking lot like nobody's going to creep up on me, and all of a sudden you see a hand come out. Ah!
Never know.
There goes Mark the PA. Now we're down to 12 PAs.
That's going to be a new movie, and you're going to need a writing credit on it.
Yeah.
14 PAs. I can't wait for this scene to be over because I have a question about how this movie ends. So while we watched the last minute, I wanted to ask Tracy what it's like to, how much control you feel like, or give and take you have to give to an actor performing or in reading lines differently than how you envisioned it. Is it easy for you? Is it hard for you?
There was only really maybe a few times that I really felt that it was off. I felt, and when I talked to the actor, they got it instantly, but that was only a few times. I felt that, again, when we showed up, when the actors showed up, whether it was their strong theater background, lines were memorized, all we needed to do was kind of talk in the morning around what we were going to do today, and if they had any questions. As we went, just say, if, like I said earlier, there was a couple times when I felt like, no, that's not really what I had in mind. I had in mind maybe something different, and I would explain that, and they got it. I had no issue.
That goes though with your writing and how good you are and how good you are as a director. I feel like
Thank you.
You were so clear to the actors, and the actors understood it. You were never vague and kind of just bullshitted through it. You were very clear on how you saw it, and you did give the actors a lot of leeway to take it different directions. But because of your clarity, I feel like you got what you wanted.
I did. I feel that everyone gave great, performances from the get-go. Really, I don't have any complaints. But something does stand out in my mind. There's a voiceover that Katie does at the very end, and that was, I felt that we kind of collaborated on that voiceover on how we wanted it to be. Other than that, and it starts actually right now. Other than that, I can't remember collaborating in that detail, with another actor. Really, I mean, they would just show me what they had different times, different scenes, and we would talk about it. But this particular voiceover, I felt that we kind of got into it, Katie and I. So, in a good way, we talked about it. Yeah.
I think every time you had any kind of a back and forth with anything with your vision, and you were talking to anybody, it was always in a good way. You were very, very good with letting an artist be an artist, but also getting what you needed. It was really fun watching you work.
Thank you. I think it's because I love actors. I do. They're special people. They really are.
And not like those PAs where we just dump them off.
I gotta say, and now that the credits have started, I think I was surprised with where Alicia ended up versus where she started. That threw me, and I don't know if that was intentional, if you ever thought about the two directions that she could go, or if this is what you knew all along.
No, I knew when I started writing the character of Alicia, I knew as it was going along, I knew what she was going to do. I think the character kind of creates the plot in that sense. Yeah. It's a big deal because a lot of times you want to connect with a main character, the main protagonist, right? You want to take that journey with them, and you want to like them and identify with them. And this takes that part of us and shows us, like Melissa was saying, that there's a dark side to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in real life, people are sometimes good and sometimes bad. And I think even the bad quote bad characters in this, there were still a couple moments where it's you realize that they're doing it and they think they're doing the right thing, and they're real people, and that's what made the script so interesting. When Michelle and I first got that script, there was a lot of wow, okay, this isn't fairy tale, this is real, and that makes you excited to show up to work on something, because like you just said, that you see the greed does start to win, but then does she regret it? There's so many questions and that's real life.
That's real life.
There's not a happy ever after.
No, there's not. So yeah, I think you're right.
I mean, even you go to the bad people, and it's like that. You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. Like Adorno, there's part of him, and he believes that he's doing the right thing. That you need people like them to run the world, because if they don't, what would happen? And so even the bad guys have glimmers of good, and the good guys have glimmers of bad.
Well, yes, because
why can't we say that about real life? Interestingly, that when we think about the dark state or groups that we assume are evil, if we're putting kind of the filmmaking idea, the storytelling, shouldn't there be some kind of lightness or love or humanity somewhere in there?
We need you to run for office.
No. I like Tracy's idea of restoring a nice theater and working with lovely actors and living in a nice small town. That sounds great. And not being on the council.
Being on council, yes. Exactly.
So, wow. So I want to ask you guys, Mark, you mentioned that you're kind of went back on the road. You're working on a film. We've established that you're in Jersey. You've brought in a lot of Italians because you can't find them anywhere in New York or New Jersey.
You got to get them there. We have to bring them in.
You have to bring them in. Can you talk about this project? Is it TV film, or is this a pilot, or kind of NDA on everything?
It's a TV pilot, and Dan Lauria, the father from the Wonder Years, is in it. There's one of the leads from CSI New York is in it. Ronnie Marmo, who is an amazing actor. He plays Lenny Bruce in the play I'm Not a Comedian, I'm Lenny Bruce, that's been touring in New York and LA, and he's the main character and one of the producers, and I'm the white trash friend. I'm actually it's called Unsuited, and it's about a lot of gambling, and I'm the bad luck charm. I'm the guy who walks in and everybody starts losing when I'm around.
Oh no.
Oh, wow. You know what? You missed it, Mark. At the top of the watch party, I talked about some of the articles on Film Threat's website, and one of them is 11 movies with realistic casino scenes.
Really? Awesome. We are shooting in a casino this week. We're shooting in Atlantic City. So.
Oh, you are. Which casino?
I believe it's Showboat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm not in the casino scene.
Got it.
They won't let me go.
Well, awesome. And then Tracy, what are you working on next? You mentioned you're working on another script.
I am, and it's almost done. The working title is The Devil's Pool, and it's going to be shot in Philadelphia. I'm not shooting in Hamilton this time.
No?
No, maybe there might be a couple scenes in Hamilton, but the majority of it will be shot in Philadelphia. So I'll be scouting locations shortly. I'm sure you'll be hearing about it, Mark.
Well, give me a call. I live right there.
Now,
I'll be your chauffeur.
Tracy, Tracy, you went to school in Philly, so I'm assuming this will be another place to highlight some of your favorite haunts, maybe where you went to school.
I graduated Rosemont College, which is on the main line outside of Philadelphia. But yes, I'm in Philadelphia all the time. I love it there. It's only 30 miles from Hamilton. I do leave Hamilton.
Well, can anybody really leave a small town like Hamilton? That sounds like another dark, kind of mysterious script. Well, thank you to the both of you, and please thank Melissa, and please thank, it's been so long, Nick. It feels like it was years ago, but thank you so much for sharing your time with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I wish I could have joined earlier. I'm so sad I missed everybody.
Well,
It's okay. It's just like you have people come, you have people go. Thank you, Dino, for posting those questions. Perhaps someday you'll get to appear in your mom's films, and make sure you get an agent, a really good agent. Well, from all of us at Film Threat, thank you for joining us for this watch party. We're going to be back next week on the 13th with Notorious Nick, Habit on August 20th, August 27th, The In Between, and then, oh my God, then we're already talking about September and fall again. So from all of us at Film Threat, thank you guys.